Welcome back to the Mike and Andrew Show. I'm Andrew Serwick here with Mike Meredith. Mike, how you doing this fine Tuesday evening?
I'm doing good, man.
That's good. We got lots to talk about, so let's get right into it. Starting with the NFL Thursday night football. I think we had our toilet bowl of the week. It's either that or Sunday night. We'll get into that. But anyways, the Bears hosted the Panthers. Bears win this one 16-13. My first question is who the fuck thought this would be a great idea for a primetime game? Because
For real.
whoever did needs to get arrested. Like, this was just embarrassing, really, for both teams.
Yeah, Prime is just like throwing money away. Like they literally do not care about Thursday night, man. This is like the first coming up this next week is like the first good actual game on Thursday night. It's usually like two shit teams or two mid teams. It's like never any good matchups. So, but yeah, just to have like these two teams, man, like two infamously bad, like, yeah, I mean, pretty much what is expected. Really low scoring, really shitty play both ways. Panthers literally just lost to the team that has their pick. Crazy.
Yeah, I guess for the Panthers, it really didn't matter win or lose. For the Bears, it really mattered if they won because that sent that pick further down the road for them. Uh, because that pick is basically competing against Arizona right now. But yeah, just horrible play from everyone. Bryce Young looked like ass. Badgett looked like ass. I believe Fields is going to be back this week, so that might help Chicago a little bit. But is it really going to make any difference? Not
Nope.
really. Maybe like a nice run play every now and then from Chicago, but that's about it. But yeah, this was just a horrible game. But yeah, Bears with the W. To Germany went the Patriots and the Colts, and yeah, this was another toilet bowl. I
Toilet
think
bowl.
I think
Yeah,
this one might be the toilet bowl just because of how little was scored here. Patriots losing here. The Colts win it 10-6. Um, it looked like both these teams weren't prepared. It looked like both these teams just didn't care, didn't want to be there, didn't want to play. Minshew looked like shit. Mac Jones looked like I don't even know how to describe it. He just looked horrible in
Mac
this game.
Jones was. Yeah.
He doesn't even. It's like he doesn't give a shit that he's in the NFL. It's just yeah.
They literally benched Mac Jones at the end of the game for Bailey Zappi, and I think that might even do that moving forward. Like they did that was it last year or 2 years ago where they put Zappi in and he played like 3 or 4 games for Mac Jones. So they just need a quarterback, man. Need to move on from Mac Jones. He's not the answer in New England.
Neither's
Hopefully,
Belichick either, man. I think Belichick's gone after this year too.
yeah.
I
Pick a new quarterback.
get a new head coach too while you're at it.
Yeah.
The Bengals hosted the Texans, and the Texans win 30-27. C.J. Stroud did it again, man. He is fucking phenomenal, dude. He really is phenomenal. Joe Burrow did not have a really good day. He threw 2 picks in this one, but man, just a really nice game from C.J. Stroud yet again, man. 356 yards passing, really just looking incredible. Obviously the best rookie QB, probably rookie of the year at this rate.
Yeah, he should definitely get a win Rookie of the Year, and this is kind of like the opposite of a Peyton Manning Ryan Leaf situation where Peyton went number one, Ryan Leaf went number two, and Ryan Leaf was horrible. This time, we're going to be talking about Bryce Young at number one, who is looking like a bust. C.J. Stroud number two, and them, really missing there, man. I mean, uh, C.J. Stroud looks like the QB that Carolina should have took, man, and they definitely fumbled that.
Yeah, they fumbled that hard. I mean, they gave up their future for the Keebler elf.
Yeah.
He just Bryce Young. He just doesn't look like he belongs out there, man. He really doesn't. The Steelers hosted the Packers. Steelers winning this one 23-19. Another one of those toilet bowl games. Um, Jordan Love looked like complete dog ass yet again. Kenny Pickett didn't play very well, but Pittsburgh obviously just pulling out the win here, getting a much needed win. They're still a playoff team, man. They're 6-3 right now. I didn't expect them to be 6-3 at this point, and here the fuck we are. I mean, this team is not that good, but they're winning their games, and they're in the playoffs right now.
Yep, they're finally winning, and yeah, it was another toilet bowl. I mean, I didn't watch any of this game much, but just seeing the score, just Jordan Love is not it after that, false sense of hope in that week one game. And Steelers find a way to still win. I mean, there was a lot of big losses in the division this week with the Bengals we talked about, and we'll get to the Ravens game. So that definitely helped them out.
Yeah, it definitely helped them out, but yeah, the Packers just haven't been good since week one, man. It really is a shame. The Bucks hosted the Titans, winning that game 20-6. Now I picked the Titans to win this game. I thought this was just a scrappy sort of game. The Titans like to win. Unfortunately, it didn't play out this week for them. A nice bounce back win from Tampa Bay after a pretty nice losing skid here. Baker Mayfield played pretty decently. Will Levis looked like a fucking bum out there. He didn't look any good. Derrick Henry, very very unproductive day. 24 yards on 11 touches. The Tennessee defense we know is obviously garbage. But this was a nice bounce back from Baker, or for the Bucks in general, I should say.
Yeah, I think the Bucks have a real chance of winning this division. Atlanta looks like trash. We'll get to their game. I mean, that was awful. And then the Saints, I have no faith in the Saints. They're up and down every week. I think that Tampa Bay is my favorite to take this division. So getting back on track is good for them.
Yeah, I mean they're second in their division right now. They're 4-5. New Orleans is 5-5. I think right now the betting favorite is New Orleans to win the division. Just looking at the two schedules, what's remaining for both of them, I think New Orleans has the slightly easier schedule, so it makes sense why they're the favorite. But I think the Bucks, if they can turn this thing around completely like they did this week, they can end up winning this division. But yeah, a nice bounce back win for the Bucks for sure. The Ravens hosted the Browns, and the Browns win this 33-31. This was a very fun game to watch. Lamar Jackson looked like a bum out there. Deshaun Watson, he played a decent game, I would say. Not as bad as Lamar Jackson, that's for sure. But a game-winning field goal for Cleveland in this one, in a comeback victory as well.
Yeah, so when I was first watching the NFL games this week, I was looking at the ESPN score ticker, and it showed Baltimore was up 14-0 with like 5 minutes in the first. So I was like, here we go. Here's another big blowout for Baltimore. And then next thing you know, I look, and Cleveland ended up winning the game. So Lamar Jackson had a meltdown, and the Ravens melted down the fourth quarter and gave that one to the Browns.
Yeah, Lamar had his meltdown, and that defense for Cleveland really stood up in the fourth quarter. Really, in the second half, that defense stood up quite a bit. But mostly just late in that fourth quarter is really where that defense finally decided, okay, let's play some football now. Closing that gap down to Baltimore. Obviously, Cleveland has had their bye week. Baltimore hasn't, so essentially Cleveland just a half a game back from Baltimore in this one. A very good win, which obviously it helped the Steelers too with their win. Making this this is the best division of football right now. Wouldn't you agree?
I would.
Like
Yeah,
every team in that division is a playoff team right now, which is insane. Even the Bengals are. So yeah, Very good game there. The Jaguars hosted the 49ers. This was a nice bounce back week for the 49ers coming off the bye week. Um, Going on the road, and they get a nice win here, 34-3. Now, I'm not going to say Brock Purdy's back because he's not. Okay, he's still Brock Purdy. Trevor Lawrence just looked like complete shit, man. That offense could not do anything. We got to see, this new defense with Chase Young, and boy, did that defense look fucking amazing with Chase Young there.
Yeah, they had a huge bounce back week. 49ers, man, there was definitely some concerns there after they lost 3 straight, and Jacksonville being 6-2. A lot of people thought that they had a good chance to lose that game, but they came in and just destroyed Jacksonville. So that's definitely going to be nice moving forward here for the 49ers, building some more confidence back up in that team.
Yeah, definitely a lot more, confidence for the 49ers. That defense looked really, really good last night, like I said. Chase Young especially looked really good. Brock Purdy, obviously, he was basically playing catch with George Kittle, who only had three receptions, but he had 116 yards receiving George Kittle, so really nice game from him. The Vikings hosted the Saints. The Vikings win 27-19. New Orleans drops to 5-5. They're still leading their division though. This was a pretty good game from Josh Dobbs. He really is starting to fit in a little bit with this Minnesota offense, and things are still rolling. I'm surprised that he's really started to fit in here.
Yeah.
Which is, but man, Jameis Winston looked like shit this weekend too.
Yeah, Saints just up and down every week. You never know with them. The Vikings, they finally are starting to get things clicking. I think that's 5 in a row now for them. Josh Dobbs is taking a hold of this offense pretty quickly, and it's kind of scary now for Detroit. I mean, the Vikings, if they would have lost this week, Detroit, they would have only been like a half game behind. So they definitely are creeping up here.
Yeah, they're definitely creeping up. Justin Jefferson, he's eligible to be back this week. I think they're going to rest him this week, though. In my opinion, they would. Before the bye week for Minnesota, it'd be probably in their best interest to get another week of rest. They don't need that help at receiver coming into this week, and we'll discuss that in Thursday's episode. But yeah, a very solid game from the Vikings. Josh Dobbs, I'm surprised he's plugged and played this well for them, but it seems to be working. So all credit to them. The Chargers hosted the Lions. Lions winning on a last-second field goal on coming off a ballsy gamble from Dan Campbell, going for it on 4th and 2 instead of just kicking the field goal from where they were, so they could run out the clock and not give the Chargers a chance to go down the field. Because in that second half, man, the Lions defense just stopped playing. The offense was playing very well throughout the entire game. The defense looked really good in the first half, and then just completely fell apart in the second half and allowed LA to get back into this game. But yeah, very ballsy call from Dan Campbell to run the clock out to go for the 4th and 2, to run that clock out, and then kick the game-winning field goal that way to not give LA a chance to win this. Lions improved to 7-2 now. Very solid game from both quarterbacks. I mean, Justin Herbert looked really, really good, and Jared Goff, he is very underrated. A lot of people hate on him a little bit too much, man. He has really, really fit in with this system.
Yeah, this was a crazy game, man. So I actually missed the first half of this game. I was out doing something, and then I came back. I watched the whole second half, and it was like back and forth all that second half. It seemed like And yeah, that was a really ballsy move, man. I was like, man, just kick the field goal. But Dan Campbell, man, he likes to go for it. He went for it 5 times on fourth down. They were 4 for 5 on fourth down conversions. Not so good on third downs. I think they were like 4 for 13 on third down conversions in that game. But fourth down, they went for it. They got it and ran the timeout so that Justin Herbert didn't get a chance to take the Chargers down the field. So it was a good game. Defense definitely needs to step it up, though. I mean, giving up 38 points is, going to be tough to win a game, but it was a shootout, and the Lions ended up winning that game 7-2. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Lions have the second best record in the entire NFL, which is crazy to think about. Still in that hunt for that first seed in the playoffs. But David Montgomery finally back from injury, 12 carries and 116 yards. That block by JMO on that touchdown run, absolutely incredible. To see what he did, some effort from JMO for once. I like it. The Cardinals hosted the Falcons. The Falcons losing this one. Arizona wins 25-23. Kyler Murray, obviously, he's back from injury. He was waiting for that cod to drop before he came back, and I guess it kind of helped him in this game. I mean, he didn't look the greatest. I mean, he went 19 for 32. Taylor Heineke looked like shit, but at the end of the day, a very, very close game. Another, last second field goal to win this game this weekend, which seemed to be a lot of those this weekend, man. But Arizona getting the W here.
Yeah, that was a crazy game, man. I kept seeing the score flip back and forth between field goals between the two teams, and Arizona ended up winning. So, their draft picks now moved up, and Chicago now with Carolina's pick got that number 1 pick, and the Falcons continue to drop in this easy division that they have, which is super winnable, and they just can't seem to get it together.
Yeah, they just have no offense. I mean, their defense is so good, but their offense just has no answers for anyone, which is kind of pretty sad. The Cowboys hosted the Giants, and unlike the first game that they played against each other this year, the Giants weren't shut out in this one. Cowboys win 49-17. Dak has got to get these interceptions under control. Yes, he only threw 1 this week, but he looked pretty solid still overall. 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Screw the interception. You played a really damn good game. And on the opposite side, Danny DeVito. I mean,
Tommy DeVito.
yeah, Tommy DeVito. He
He basically was Danny DeVito.
yeah, you could have thrown Danny DeVito out there and you wouldn't have been able to fucking tell the difference. I mean, 14 for 27 and 86 yards. Yeah, you threw 2 touchdown passes, but come on, man. What is this shit? Saquon didn't do anything. And obviously this Giants defense is garbage. And Dallas just took care of business, really, getting the nice W.
Yeah, that's the thing with Dallas, man. It seems like they always beat up on the bad teams, and then when a real matchup comes, like the 49ers with the Eagles, they melt down. So, I mean, they were like 18-point favorites going into this game. The Giants, I mean, like I said, you could have thrown anyone in at quarterback. They weren't going to do anything. The team's cooked. They definitely need to start rebuilding from the ground up. I would say Saquon's like the only competent person that can stay. The rest of them got to go.
Yeah, I mean, they got to draft a quarterback in this draft. I think Daniel Jones ain't gonna cut it, but he's in a halo right now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The Seahawks hosted the Commanders. Seattle winning this one 29-26. Yet again, a last-second field goal. This was a game that was pretty close throughout pretty much the entire time. It was just back and forth scoring. It basically came down to who had the last possession in the fourth quarter, and it was Seattle that had that last possession. Geno Smith didn't play the greatest game. He threw for 370 yards, but um, he wasn't. I wouldn't say he wasn't great, but something just didn't seem right. But I'm gonna give credit to Sam Howell in this game. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 29 for 44. But he has no offensive line in front of him at all. He got sacked a billion times and still put up that number, man. Really, really solid game from him, despite having no protection.
Yeah, definitely a hard fought effort by the Commanders, but Seahawks get that W.
Yeah, and this is a Washington team that sold everything they could, and just barely lost to a pretty good Seattle team. So I'm gonna give credit to the Commanders, man. They played a very good game. The Raiders hosted the Jets Sunday Night Football, another toilet bowl. Raiders sneaking out the W, 16-12. I had the Jets winning just because of the defense. Just awful, awful offense from both sides of this matchup. Vegas has no quarterback play. Obviously, the Jets have no quarterback play because Zach Wilson's a fucking bum. Aiden O'Connell had a pretty shit game as well. This was just another boring game, and very low scoring as well. Not an exciting game. Nothing really to talk about either because just both teams in this and all the players are just horrible.
Yeah, it was a really tough game here. Raiders and Jets, man, just not a good game. Really, another toilet bowl of the week. I saw something like the Jets hadn't scored an offensive touchdown in like 11 quarters or something like that. It's been like forever. They were getting penalized a lot, and just wasn't really a good win or loss for either team. I mean, they both just didn't play good at all.
But both these teams, again, why are we having bad teams on primetime football? It'll never make sense to me, man. And then lastly, last night, Denver's defense coming up big against a Buffalo team that should have easily won this game. Russell Wilson had a very, very nice game in this one. The pass to Cortland Sutton just kind of looked like a like classic Russell Wilson, prime Russell Wilson's pass. Josh Allen, an abysmal game, threw 2 interceptions, didn't hit 200 yards. Like I said, man, I don't think the Bills are going to make the playoffs, and a loss like this kind of almost confirms that theory for me.
Yeah, the Bills, man, they've melted down. I think. I mean, I kind of said this earlier in the year, even though they did bounce back, and then now they're being really bad again. I said that if they are a flame out again, man, it might be time to sell, man. Get rid of Stephon Diggs. Keep Josh Allen, but just try and rebuild everything else around because they really don't have much. I mean, if they're going to keep flaming out like this, man, missing the playoffs, the Dolphins are probably going to win this division. They were losing to the Bengals and the Chiefs in the postseason the last few years, so it's like gotta try something new. You gotta change it up. And the Broncos, man, I mean, they've had some big wins recently. They beat the Chiefs, and now the Bills. So we'll see how they do moving forward here. But the Bills honestly just lost this game. A lot of penalties, fumbles. Josh Allen didn't do that well. Just pretty poor performance by the Bills all around.
Very, very poor performance. Josh Allen, I think he has more picks this year than he does touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. But just absolutely abysmal game from Buffalo. But Denver's defense the last few weeks, man, they have been really, really good. Even with some losses in there, they've held teams to pretty low points totals. After giving up 70 to Miami, they've really tightened down on defense, which is obviously good to see. You want to see that improvement, But yeah, man, if Buffalo continues to play like this, um, there's no way they're gonna make the playoffs. So that wraps up the NFL games for this week 10. So now we're gonna get into the power rankings, um, heading into week 11 here. So let's get right into it, man. At number 10, moving up 5 spots, the Houston Texans. Never thought this season I would see the Texans near this top 10, but here they are. They are a playoff team right now in a bad division. They could win this division, um, especially if the Jags start to really shit the bed now. Um, and yeah, C.J. Stroud has been playing phenomenal the last couple weeks now. After a couple rough weeks following a very good start to the season, this defense is actually looking pretty damn good. Um, Devin Singletary has been playing some damn good ball for them. Um, this offense has looked really really good this year. Um, so yeah, I think Houston deserves this 10th place spot considering everything that's been happening for them so far this year.
Yeah, I like this spot for Houston. They had a big win this week. They deserve to move up in the power rankings. And I distinctly remember, I don't remember a lot, but I do remember at the start of the year, one of our first episodes, one of the bold takes we had were the Texans to win 7 games. And I think we both said, not a chance, man. But it's looking like they might do it, man.
Yeah, I think we're both going to be proven wrong on that one. They have just been playing some really good ball, man, and C.J. Stroud especially. He's just been incredible. Without Nico Collins too. So yeah, the Browns move up 1 spot to number 9. Obviously, a big win against a division rival. Um, the Browns have been playing some really good football. That defense has been really good this year. Deshaun Watson being back definitely helps. And Deshaun played like the Deshaun we know. Played really good this week, and it showed. And obviously they had a nice win. Obviously they won it on a last second field goal, but I mean, hey, a win's a win. And yeah, I mean, they're still a top 10 team in my books.
Yeah, they definitely are. Big week for them, and definitely still a top 10 team.
Moving down 4 spots to number 8, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, they got cooked this week. I mean, absolutely cooked by the 49ers. The defense decided they didn't want to play. Trevor Lawrence looked like shit. Now, look, Jacksonville, obviously they're still on top of their division, but Houston's right there now, knocking on the door, which, honestly, I thought Jacksonville had this wrapped up to begin with, to start the season. But now Houston's been playing good ball. They got to turn some things around. They got to stop playing games like this. I still think they're a top 10 team right now, but yeah, a loss like this, you can't have that, especially if you want to, go out there and win your division very, very handedly.
Yeah, this was, a tough week for Jacksonville with the 49ers. They definitely had the opportunities here, but they got beat pretty bad. Definitely deserve to move down the rankings, but I think that they should still be over Houston because they still have the division lead and definitely on paper at least still the better team. But Houston's coming up on them, so they definitely got to start performing better.
Yeah, like I said, man, and like you just said, they got to start performing better because Houston's coming, man. They really are. It's amazing what this one year has done for them. This one draft class has done for them. Moving up 1 spot to number 7, the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, a big win over the Giants. 49-17. They looked very solid. it will be interesting because they still have to play some good teams the rest of this year. I believe they do have to play the Lions still, but that's at home. So we'll see how they perform there. There's still some question marks, especially with Dak and the interceptions, but I feel like he straightened himself out for the most part this week. Um, and that defense, obviously, yes, it's the Giants. They have no offense, but still held up a very, very good fight in this one. So yeah, Dallas, I think seven's a good spot. You could probably argue to be higher. You could also argue to be lower, but I say the seven's a pretty good spot for them.
Yeah, I think seven's a solid spot. I mean, like I said, they played the Giants this week. I mean, not much to really improve upon. I mean, you should beat up on the Giants. The Giants are horrible. They have a third string quarterback in there. So, not really that impressive of a win. Like you said, it really just depends on how they do the rest of the year with their better opponents and see if they can actually win some meaningful games.
Staying at number 6 this week, the Miami Dolphins. They had the bye week this week. We talked about this last week. At home, they're a really, really good team. On the road, not so much. But I still think, with this loss for Buffalo this week, Miami, I think, now has this division wrapped up. They still, I believe, have to play Buffalo at home. So that could be, a win there, obviously, because, like I said, Miami at home is very good. Um, yeah, but they need to start winning on the road if they really want to be, you know, if they really want to have any chance at playing for a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, they definitely do. The Dolphins had that bye week, and hopefully they can kind of straighten some things up moving forward here.
Moving up 2 spots, the San Francisco 49ers are at number 5. Obviously, a huge win against a division leading team in the Jaguars. A big blowout win. I mean, obviously, 34-3. Um, it's a very, very good win. Like I said earlier, that defense looked incredible in this game. Um, Brock Purdy had a nice bounce back after 3 really, really rough weeks for him. I don't think he's completely back because it is Brock Purdy. You're not going to get far with him, I think. But the Niners, a very good win here, deserves to be back in this top 5. Obviously, holding a division-leading team to 3 points is pretty impressive.
Yeah, they bounced back this week, man. The 49ers, I think that they are going to start rolling again. I kind of said that they had to get back on track, and this was a nice win for them. Hopefully, they can get back to where they were at the start of the year, where they were just dominating the entire NFL.
Yeah, I think they will. But right now they don't have the record like the Lions do. Speaking of the Lions, they move up 1 spot to number 4. Um, Montgomery is back. He's healthy. Obviously, he had a huge game. The offensive line played all 5 starters this week for the first time since I believe week 1. Um, no, no sacks allowed. Only 8 pressures on 33 dropbacks for Goff, which is obviously really, really, really good efficiency. Very good pass protection. Running, I mean, this team is incredible on the run game right now. I mean, that offensive line just moves everyone out of their way. They deserve this top 5 spot. I could probably maybe argue them above the Chiefs right now, um, who are above them still, but you know it is what it is there.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta agree, man. The Lions have really performed well. I mean, like you said, the offensive line showed out this week, and Goff had a lot of time in the pocket, no sacks. They they come out with the big win against their best opponent so far that they actually won against. So that was big for them.
Yeah, that offensive line, it's completely healthy. Going forward, man, I really, really hope this team, that offensive line, stays healthy the rest of the year. Um, No injuries. They played every single snap. So yeah, very solid game for them. Dropping down one spot to number 3 is the Baltimore Ravens. Um, they played obviously a very good game this week overall. Lamar Jackson obviously had his breakdown in the fourth quarter, but ultimately they lost to a division rival on a last-second field goal. But at the end of the day, it is a loss. It should have been a game they probably should have won, but not a bad spot still here at number 3. I would still argue them over Kansas City personally, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's tough because this week, the Baltimore lost, so they're definitely probably factoring that in, and but it's tough too because they beat the Lions, so they got the Lions below them, but then the Lions beat the Chiefs, so kind of difficult to see how they were going to rank those 2 through 4 there, but I'm fine with Baltimore being at 3.
In my honest opinion, I'd put Baltimore at 2, Lions at 3, and Kansas City at 4, but it is what it is. Moving up one spot, though, to number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, they had the bye week this week, but something just is not right with that offense, man. They cannot move the ball against not even great defenses. But something's just not clicking. They have a really good defense. Just their offense doesn't complement it for some reason this year. Maybe they changed some or they fixed some things this week during the bye week. We'll see this weekend how that plays out. But I can't put the Chiefs at number 2 right now, man. I just can't.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I mean, I can definitely argue the Ravens and the Lions above them. I understand why, but you know, Chiefs haven't been that great, and losing to the Broncos was definitely tough for them.
Yeah, it's very very tough for them. Obviously, they have the lead of right now they have the number 1 seed for the AFC. Um, but they're going to be fighting Baltimore for that. Obviously, Baltimore had their loss this week, but I feel like Kansas City is going to lose a couple more games this year. I really do, man. That offense just has not been clicking at all this year. Mahomes has not been that great. And then at number 1, staying at number 1, the best team in football right now. Obviously, they had a bye week this week. The Philadelphia Eagles. This bye week came at a right time for them. He's been fighting a knee injury. Jalen Hurts has been. I should clarify that. But the Eagles obviously the best record right now. They have the most complete team, I think. They're in a fight. They're in a fight for that number 1 seed still with Detroit obviously. But they've looked obviously really good so far to start the year. I think they'll continue to look really really good, unless something unforeseen happens. Philly for now. I think until someone genuinely beats them, not some unforeseen bullshit. Philly's gonna stay at this number 1 spot.
Yeah, Philly is just the best team right now. They had some question marks and some tough games earlier on, but overall, if we look at all the games played and who's kind of been the most on top of their stuff, the Eagles have come out with a lot of big W's. So big game for them coming up against the Chiefs. We'll see how that game goes.
Yeah, big game here. I think the Chiefs lose this one, but we'll talk about that on Thursday. So that wraps up your NFL power rankings. So let's get right into the NCAA top 25 matchups from this weekend. And we'll start it off with Thursday night's matchup. Louisville holding on, number 11 Louisville holding on to beat Virginia, winning 31-24 in a game where I thought Louisville would just blow them out of the water. But no, Virginia had a nice third quarter. Actually took the lead going into the fourth quarter, and it was just a very close game from there. They went in the second half down 14-0, and then it was all Virginia for that third quarter, and then yeah, Louisville just barely getting the win here.
Yeah, Louisville. That was definitely a tough win for them, and they've had their struggles this year as well. But they're able to pull out the win.
Obviously, just doing what they needed to, but just barely. Number 10, Penn State hosted number 3, Michigan. Michigan getting the win, 24-15. They didn't have stolen signs in this game, so and to pull off a win, pretty impressive. But Sharon Moore acting like Harbaugh died, like right before the game, dude. Come on, man. Just come on. That was soft. That was really soft.
For real, man. I had a little bit of money on Michigan in this game, nothing crazy, so I'm glad they were able to win that one. Looking back, of course, would have put a little bit more on it. Just wasn't sure, man. I thought Penn State. I knew that Penn State's defense would be showing out, but that offense is a big concern, and it definitely was this game. I mean, the offense looked trash and the defense looked good, so that's Penn State's biggest problem right there.
Yeah, they have a dumbass head coach who doesn't know how to recruit offensive players. He can recruit the fuck out of some defensive players, let me tell you. Um, but their offense is horrible. Drew Aller's been shit. They couldn't run the ball this week either. And then yeah, Michigan obviously finally playing a real defense. But Sharon Moore, he did make a nice ballsy move. He realized that this offensive line could not pass protect against a real pass rush. So he just ran it the rest of the second half. Didn't throw a pass in the second half, and ended up working out very well for them in the end. Because a lot of coaches will get that ego in them and say like, nah, we can still pass the ball, but he just kept his head down, said we'll just keep doing what this defense can't stop, and that's run the ball. And Penn State was stacking the box, and Michigan's offense was still running the ball very effectively against Penn State. So big credit to Sharon Moore for having the balls to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky hosted number 8 Alabama. Bama wins this 49-21. I'm gonna start calling them Zombie Bama because it's just like they're still alive somehow, but they're also dead at the same time. So I think it just works to call them that. But yeah, not the best performance from Kentucky, but a very very good win for Bama. Much needed turnaround in this one, and Milroe. I think he's starting to finally turn the corner, man, because he's been playing pretty well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Milroe, man, he's been. I think he had like 4 rushing touchdowns or something like that, and I don't know if it was this week's game or last week, but he's been performing a lot better than he was at the start of the year. And Bama looks somewhat decent compared to how they were kind of perceived at the start with the tough loss to Texas, and then thinking that Bama might be done. Bama's still in it, but like you said, not really in it at the same time, so it's kind of tough.
Yeah, he had 4 last week against LSU, and he had 3 this week too. So I mean, yeah, racking up the touchdowns for sure. He had 6 total touchdowns in this game, which is incredible. Number 16, Kansas hosted Texas Tech. Kansas losing this game. Texas Tech wins it 16-13. Look, Kansas has been up and down all year. They have good wins and then they have bad losses, and they've just been inconsistent with it. Obviously, there's some things that Kansas needs to fix. Texas Tech, they're fighting for bowl eligibility. They get a nice win here, a much needed win in this hunt for bowl eligibility, because a loss there probably would have sealed them to not have that this year. So, but this was a very boring, low scoring game. But yeah, Kansas didn't do what they needed to do.
Yeah, this definitely was a low scoring, not as good of a game here. A lot of a lot going on in this game, but yeah, Kansas definitely a interesting one there for them.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting game to say the least. Uh, Number 23, Tulane hosted Tulsa. Tulane winning this one 24 to 22. This was not, a very good game for Tulane. I mean, Tulsa, they had a touchdown with 3 minutes left. They tried to go for the 2 point conversion and they missed it, and that's basically what sealed the deal in this game for Tulane. And they've been good at times. The defense has always been questionable this year. But the offense lately has not been very productive for Tulane. But they take care of business, and they improve to 9-1.
Yeah, Tulane here. Definitely was a tough game. With them being ranked and it coming so close, man. Definitely thought I could see a upset there.
Yeah, there was. I thought for a moment we could see an upset, but they hold on. Number 21, Arizona went on the road to Colorado. They win this game 34 to 31. Um, I'm honestly shocked that Colorado was in this game at all, considering the way Arizona's been playing the last few weeks. Um, Arizona obviously handling business, but they were able to, you know, kick the last second field goal to win this game after tying it up early in the fourth quarter. The defense held on throughout the entire fourth quarter. Shador Sanders actually had a pretty damn good game. Um, but yeah, man, I'm honestly shocked that Colorado was even in this game at all, considering just how good Arizona's defense has been so far.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado kind of made the joke about them being the hack for some easy money with them losing all these games. And man, this was a sweat. This definitely was one that had to sweat out for Arizona. Man, they were down like most of this game. Um, Came back and won at the end. So that was a good win, but also kind of a bad win too because they won the close game, but can't be that close with Colorado, man.
Yeah, betting against Colorado is like the infinite money glitch, man. It really is. Uh, but yeah, no, you can't be having a win like that. Yes, they took care of business. They won the game, but Colorado is not that good, man. You got to do a lot better than that. Number 25, Kansas State hosted Baylor. Kansas State winning this one 59 to 25. It was really no question. Baylor getting some garbage time touchdowns. Uh, but Kansas State just had a really good game. Howard had a very solid game as well, throwing for 3 touchdowns for Kansas State. Um, but yeah, man, just a really solid game from Kansas State after a tough loss last week.
Yeah, they had uh, Baylor, so wasn't too difficult of a matchup. Last week, like you said, they kept it close with Texas there. But we'll see how they do moving forward here with big rivalry next week against Kansas.
Yeah, that's going to be a very, very fun game to watch, especially once we see the college football playoff rankings, which still haven't come out yet, by the way. So we're waiting on those. Um, but yeah, big, in-state rivalry next week, which will be fun to watch for sure. Speaking of in-state rivalries, though, number 4, Florida State hosted Miami. Florida State pulling off the W, 27-20. Um, Obviously, I think this game was pretty much wrapped up in the fourth quarter. The Florida State defense stepped up. Obviously, they were down for a little bit. Going into or they were down at 13-10. In the third quarter, and then it was pretty much all FSU the rest of the way. Keon Coleman had a pretty damn good game. I know, oh, those are some wounds still for you guys, for you Sparty fans. But yeah, good game. Florida. I'm surprised they didn't win it by much more, but they still ended up with the W, and I believe they still covered as well. So, um, yeah, very good game.
Yeah, it wasn't looking like it at first that they would cover, but Florida State ended up winning this one. Um, it was a good win against Miami. Miami's definitely fallen off since their whole what do we even want to call it? Like we
Embarrassment.
always, yeah, we always trademark the Miami Miracle, but this one was like, we'll just say the Mario Cristobal.
Mario Cristobal does the fucking dumbass. I don't fucking.
Yeah,
Florida State was favored by 15 and a half here, so yeah, they definitely didn't cover this.
yeah, but still a good win for Florida State here, and continue their push to try and get into the college football playoffs.
That's for sure. Number 5, Washington hosted number 18, Utah. I thought this would be the week where the Pac-12 really starts to cannibalize itself. I thought Utah would win this game just barely, but Washington holds on for the victory, 35-28. Penix, obviously, the last couple weeks he hadn't been playing that well. He played a pretty solid game this week. Utah went into the half leading this game 28-24, and then Washington's defense just stood up, man. They really really did. And at the end of the day, Washington pulled off the W. They scored a field goal in the third quarter, and then a touchdown. They failed the 2-point conversion, which at that point in the game, why would you go for a 2-point conversion? But then they later on got a safety in that, so they basically got their 2-point conversion anyways. But yeah, UW with the W here.
Yeah, that was a nice game there. I picked UW, but I thought Utah had a good chance of possibly upsetting them, and that was a nice win there for Washington as Washington continues, and they're just right on the outside there. Could they jump Florida State in this new ranking? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Number 14, Missouri hosted number 13, Tennessee, and Tennessee got their asses handed to them. I've said it all season long. Tennessee is frauds. They're one of the most fraudulent teams right now in the SEC, and they proved it this week. Missouri winning 36-7. Just a very very embarrassing game. Joe Milton, threw 22 for 34. He had an interception. He's just overthrowing guys left and right, and that Tennessee defense couldn't stop a 5-year-old running the football. Man, it was literally just an embarrassment.
Yeah, it was a nice win for Mizzou, man, as they continued to make a push for a solid bowl game. And Tennessee, man, so they get Connecticut last week, who they just obliterate. And then they shit the bed against Mizzou, and then they got Georgia the following week. So Tennessee, I think, is going to have a rough couple weeks here after that ego win, I guess, against Connecticut.
Yeah, I think they definitely will. But yeah, they play Georgia this coming week, man, and I got some jokes stored for this week for Thursday's episode, man, about this Tennessee team. So you'll just have to wait for that one. Big upset though. UCF absolutely obliterates,
Destroyed Oklahoma State.
absolutely destroyed number 15 Oklahoma State, 45-3. Look, this is a UCF team that almost upset Oklahoma, but didn't. Oklahoma State upset Oklahoma, and then UCF just obliterates Oklahoma State. This was a big, big win for UCF. I mean, it was from the get go, just all UCF. Bowman for Oklahoma State had an abysmal game. 19 for 36 and 3 interceptions. Just absolutely horrible game. So yeah, just Not a good game for Oklahoma State. UCF, a huge upset win and a very good offensive performance from them as well. Not just defensively did they play well. They played really, really well offensively as well. And they took advantage of every interception that they got.
Yeah, UCF, man. I mean, we both picked Oklahoma State. I know UCF was actually favored by like 2.5 or something going in, and they just beat the doors down Oklahoma State. I don't know what happened to Oklahoma State, man. They fell apart.
It's like they didn't prepare for this game. I thought they said, "Oh yeah, it's UCF, we'll win." They obviously didn't win. Number 22, Iowa hosted Rutgers. They get the shutout. 22 nothing. Iowa wins. Like I said last week on Thursday, when you see over under at 27 and a half, when you see over under that low, pick the under, man, because it'll hit, and it obviously did here. Iowa's defense, obviously one of the best in the country still. Uh, you know, Rutgers' offense has been really solid this year, and they just got shut out by Iowa. And then Iowa's offense just kind of just did fucking nothing like they always do anyways. Um, but yeah, Iowa's defense coming up big here, improving them to 8-2, which I didn't see coming, honestly.
Yeah, with them having no offense, I didn't expect them to be 8-2 either. They they've been winning those games with the defense, man. But it's crazy, man. Just looking at some of their scores, like 10-7, 12-10, 15-6. Like, man, just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Uh, Oregon State, number 12, Oregon State hosted Stanford. Oregon State obliterating Stanford 62-17. DJ Ui Unga 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 just having a really solid game. 12 for 19, but 240 yards, man. That's pretty impressive. 2 touchdowns as well. Um, on the opposite side, Ashton Daniels for Stanford just looked very, very bad with 3 interceptions, going 10 for 16 too. Um, but yeah, man, just a really good game for Oregon State. I still, I think they're probably right now my favorite to win the Pac-12. That or Oregon, man. I don't think Washington's gonna hold on. But Oregon State, man, just really, really solid football the last few weeks.
Yeah, Oregon State, man. I mean, Stanford was a pretty easy opponent for them. They get the big W, the big win.
Yeah, absolutely a big win there. Number 2, Georgia hosted number 9, Ole Miss. Georgia just mopping the floor with Ole Miss, 52-17. I thought Ole Miss would at least keep this game close because their offense has just been incredible so far this year, but they didn't even come close, man. It was all Georgia all day. Carson Beck had an incredible game. Um, and yeah, just this Ole Miss offense could not do anything against Georgia this week.
Yeah, Georgia finally beat, like, I know they had a decent opponent last week as well, but Ole Miss this week, toughest opponent yet, and they showed why they deserve to be in that top conversation here. They're finally beating some respectable teams.
Yeah, very, very solid win, very respectable win. And they still have, another ranked team. Well, as of right now, Tennessee's still ranked. But yeah, very solid win for Georgia. Number 17, Oklahoma hosted West Virginia. It wasn't even a game, man. Oklahoma wins it 59-20. Obviously a bounce back after losing to Oklahoma State and to Kansas 2 weeks in a row. After having beaten Texas a few weeks before that. This was just a nice bounce back win for Oklahoma, get themselves out of that streak. Obviously, West Virginia's not that great of a team this year, but it was a fairly solid game for Oklahoma. I thought maybe West Virginia would keep this one close, but and in the end, they didn't.
Yeah, definitely thought it'd be a little bit closer um, than it was, um, but um, definitely a nice win there.
Speaking of nice wins, Ohio State, number one Ohio State, hosted Michigan State. I didn't watch a whole lot of this game just because I knew going into this game that Michigan State was going to get blown out, and they did. Ohio State wins 38-3. Um, this just proves Michigan's better than Ohio State because Michigan won it 49-0. Um, just saying, just saying. But yeah, no. Kyle McCord, I still can't trust him, man. He had a very solid game. I just don't know if I can trust him. But he does also have the cheat code in Marvin Harrison Jr. Uh, I don't
Yeah, he
know.
was going crazy.
I mean, look, state secondary is worse than like any MAC school. So is their offensive line, but that's another topic. I thought Mel Tucker was like this defensive genius. I know he's obviously not the coach anymore because he, wants to masturbate on the phone. But
Tuck came.
yeah.
Tuck coming, all right.
Tuck was coming, that's for sure. He was supposed to be like this defensive-minded genius, and have really great defensive recruits, and this is what you get. I mean, yeah, Harlan Barnett's a moron running the team, but yeah, Ohio State, a nice win here. Marvin Harrison Jr. just wasn't able to be covered at all because he's just a cheat code, and Michigan State's secondary sucks. So yeah, TCU hosted number 7 Texas. Um, Texas obviously getting the win here, 29-26. Um, Quinn Ewers, he's back. He played a solid game, I would say, but the defense just didn't hold up this week. Um, I expected more from the offense, but not a whole lot more than what they scored. But that defense, allowing TCU to be even within sniffing distance of this game, um, not a very good game. But overall, Texas getting the job done.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough one there for Texas, but they were able to get the job done and get the win.
Yeah, very solid game overall. Just execution needs to be a little bit better for Texas. Number 19, LSU hosted Florida. LSU winning 52-35. This was a pretty close game. Midway through the third quarter, and then after that, it was just pretty much all LSU, man. Um, LSU getting the big W here. Florida obviously isn't the greatest team this year. I think they're a little bit better than I expected them to be. But yeah, LSU big W here against a division rival.
Yeah, LSU with the big bounce back win against Florida here after they lost to Bama. So definitely a nice one, and what a game from Jaden Daniels there.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels looked absolutely incredible in this game.
600 yards.
Yeah, that's insane. That is video game numbers, man. That is video game numbers. Number 24, North Carolina hosted Duke. This one took 2 overtimes to finish. North Carolina wins this one 47-45. Um, and Duke, they missed their 2-point conversion to win the game, or to tie the game up. And it ended up with North Carolina winning this game in 2 overtimes. It was a very, very close game, very fun game to watch. Drake May had a very, very, very good game. 342 yards, man. He did throw a pick, but I mean, just a very solid game. UNC has been slipping for a while. A nice bounce back win against a very good Duke team.
Yeah, that was a tough one there. Definitely that big rivalry that they have. UNC Duke's a big rivalry, so just seeing that game go to double overtime was crazy. But North Carolina ends up pulling out the big win.
Yeah, that they do. Uh, USC went on the road to number 6 Oregon. Oregon wins this one 36-27. Oregon is one of the most complete teams I've seen this year, man. They're very balanced offensively, defensively. They're very very good. Holding this USC defense to only 27 points, that is very very impressive. Bo Nix had a very very incredible game. 412 yards, 4 touchdowns. But I got to give credit to this Oregon defense, man. Holding Caleb Williams, 19 for 34, under 300 yards and only 1 touchdown, man. Um, that is very very impressive because this USC's offense is one of the best in the country.
Yeah, USC offense is crazy with Caleb Williams there. But Oregon, man, Bo Nix continues to show why he might be the Heisman frontrunner. I mean, between him and Penix and even Marvin Harrison Jr., if he can sneak in, it's going to be a close race there.
Yeah, it definitely will. I think Bo Nix might be the betting favorite now because he's just been playing out of his mind this year. So that wraps up the top 25 matchups for this week. I'm gonna try to find somewhere the new college football committee rankings because I can't find anything right now on ESPN. I'm only seeing the AP poll stuff, so let's see here real quick. Nope, that's last week's rankings. They still haven't come out with this week's rankings. Okay, so I think we're just gonna have to do rankings on Thursday's episode, man, because I'm not seeing anything for the new updated rankings this week, which is weird. So yeah, I think that's just about gonna do it then, guys. Mike, you got anything else you want to add?
No, so definitely at least a quicker episode this week compared to some of our other ones. Still a little bit of time here going through all the previews and football. Definitely getting underway here in the full swing of things as we get to Thanksgiving time. We're going to see some big NFL and college games. Bowl games are going to be coming around soon, so definitely going to be exciting times there. We're going to try and, again, incorporate some more hockey and basketball with some power rankings probably once or twice, once a week or once every couple weeks moving forward here as well.
Yeah, that sounds just about right. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, rate, review, subscribe. Help us out. Let us know what else you guys want to hear. And we will see you guys on Thursday.